Am I the asshole for refusing to let my boyfriend have my bank account info to make a purchase? IF31 have been with my boyfriend M37 for 8 months. He has 3 kids and is a single dad. We're on pretty good terms regarding almost everything. When it comes to money and spending, we'd take turns to invite each other out weekly. We don't live together obviously. Several times he had me pay for his kids' purchases. I didn't make a big issue out of it for the sole reason that those purchases were relatively small. All I had to pay was $30.60. The other day, he called me while I was at work and sounded like he was in a hurry. He said he just found the gaming device he's been looking for so long and wanted to buy it for his oldest son. I asked what's this have to do with me, and he told me he was short on money and needed $300. He asked me to lend him the $300 and I hesitated but agreed. He asked for my bank account info so he could pull the money, but I refused and told him to wait for me till I get there. He insisted and said he'd handle it. All I had to do was just send him my bank account info after I end the call with him. His insistence made me uncomfortable, so I still said no and told him to either wait or I won't pay. He got mad at me saying he didn't get why I was acting like this. He got so loud I had to hung up. I found him sitting outside after I went home. He was waiting for me and was extremely upset. He asked why I didn't just send him the account info so he could pull the money we agreed on. I told him I don't feel comfortable letting anyone have my personal info, especially when it comes to finances. He got offended and said, "I'm not just anyone, I'm your feeing partner." Then went on a rant about how he ended up not paying the gaming device after looking for it for so long and now his kid is mad at him and it's my fault. We had a fight, then he left and told me I'd better have an apology for him and his son next time I call his phone. I haven't called yet, but I feel like I acted stupidly and irrationally. I think I should have just given him the info he asked for. I don't know if I made the right decision. Update. Wow, so I've left this thread after the first hour but got back to hundreds of people engaging. Wow, I'm just amazed. And since many of you wanted to know what happened, I've went to his place and talked to him and his oldest son. Turns out that the gaming device thing was a lie. He wanted the money for something else, to help pay for one of his buddy's car repair. I was shocked when he confessed and said he had to lie and make it about his kids to get me to lend him the money. You can only imagine my reaction after this. I just blew up at him and left without giving him any chance to respond. He tried calling my phone, still trying. But I decided I want some space to think about what happened and really re-evaluate our relationship. It's true that he had me pay for the kids in the past, but after what I found I wouldn't put it past him that those $30.60 purchases weren't for the kids, as I haven't seen the stuff he said he bought for them. I'm in need of some space and quiet, though I'm busy with work, but I do my best to stay focused. I, quite frankly, am no longer sure if I could move past this. It's just so unsettling that he has no issue lying to me and using me for money like that. I love the kids, I adore THRM, but him? He's hurt me with what I did and I'm not sure I could come back from it. I might just be upset right now and will need time. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just going to do a lot of thinking regarding this situation and see what happens. Sorry for the long text, but I wanted to let you know about the situation as a whole. Not the asshole. That has red flag written all over it. The request to pay for his kids. Location flag the demand for money. Location flag the demand for your account info. Location flag the anger when told no. Location flag the demand for an apology. Location flag the waiting outside your house. Location flag the gaslighting. Location flag only 8 months into the relationship to ask for money. Location flag. With Zelle, Venmo, etc. there is no need to give anyone your account info. Please do not do this. It's how people get all their money stolen. You don't owe him anything. If you gave him the money, you may never see it again, or the requests will get bigger. $300 for a game is not an emergency. Rethink this relationship. It will only get worse. Not the asshole. He was definitely gonna take more than $300. Not the asshole. Run. Now. Do not stay with him. Not the asshole. You haven't combined finances. You don't live together. And frankly, if he does not have the money saved, then he should not buy the item. Not the asshole. Tell him to pound sand. And hide your checkbook because all of the necessary information is on your checks. Not the asshole. Take the opening he's given you here and never talk to him again. You're not his money tree. He doesn't get to demand access to your bank account. Am I the asshole for calling out my sister for breastfeeding at my wedding? My 34 male sister gave birth 2 months ago. She brought the baby to mine and my wife's 23 female wedding. She breastfeeds whenever she goes. We visit her house? She'll breastfeed in front of us. Visiting our parents? She'll breastfeed. Going out in a public setting? She'll sit on a bench on the park and breastfeed. Go out to a restaurant? She breastfeeds. Everywhere. I've never spoken on it because I know she'll get mad and offended, but when she did that on my wedding I lost my cool. During the reception dinner she just did it again. I kindly approached her and asked her why she didn't bring formula or at least bump milk out and put it in the bottle so she wouldn't have to do all this at that moment. She said, "Because I don't have to. I feel comfortable breastfeeding. Getting milk out on my own is more painful." I said she could just make this sacrifice and compromise for one day instead of doing this in front of 250 guests on my wedding. She then said she can't do much about it now, because the baby has to have her milk. I told her she should be more thoughtful of that then instead of completely embarrassing herself and us by doing this. I told my wife what the deal was and she said I'm an asshole and should immediately apologize to my sister. My parents also sided with my sister and now pretty much everyone thinks I'm an asshole since I'm the only person who had a problem with it. The only reason I decided to call her out is because I considered it a bad etiquette and tacky to do that at a formal event and that she could just find another solution for that night. Am I the asshole? You are the asshole. Your sister deserves a hug and a thank you for making the effort to attend a wedding with a 2-month-old. You are the asshole. God, what is it with all the guys who marry women much younger than them? They all seem to be immature and controlling in the same way. Everyone thinks you're the asshole because you're the only person who had a problem with it. And they're right. Info. Did you ask all the other guests at the wedding not to eat as well? The only tacky person with bad etiquette is you. You are the asshole. And #X200B. Side note. You are 34 and your wife is 23? Yes, you are the asshole. I would figure that having your parents and wife tell you would have been enough. But some people need more evidence. Since you personally do not have breasts, you have no clue how painful or difficult pumping might be, so you're a jerk for suggesting it. Then there's the fact that you never told her that it bothers you, but expected her to just magically understand that you had a problem with it. Oh hell yeah, you are the asshole. Babies that young need to eat constantly, because they have tiny stomachs that fill and empty quickly. This is why your sister is always feeding the baby because the baby always needs to eat. Also, a baby this young, who has been exclusively fed by one method, breast, cannot easily switch to another method, bottle. Also, as your sister told you, for some folks, pumping hurts like a mofo. I personally was never able to produce much extra just as much as my son needed. So that's a lot of pain for nothing. You need to shut your mouth and open your mind, because you have a lot to learn before you have children. Give yourself a good decade. Fortunately it sounds like your wife and parents have their heads screwed on straight. Am I the asshole for giving my wedding photographer a bad review? Ta account. I got married 2 months ago, was a moderate affair, open bar, nice dress. No kids at a slightly more upscale place than I would have liked, but I guess you only live once. We hired a photographer through a company, a mid-sized place that assigned you an employee. We met with her a few times to go over expectations, venues, etc. No red flags, nothing weird. Day of the wedding she shows up in a sheer white blouse with lace, completely see-through, with no bra. I noticed, my husband noticed, everyone noticed. I, and most of my guests, just spent the evening trying to look away. All through the reception I could overhear people talking about it or joking about it. My husband and I had a good laugh about it after everything was done. Just sort of a, what the fuck was that, did that really happen? I guess every wedding needs a weird story, at least mine didn't involve a guest. Couple of weeks ago we got the photo package, it was good and in line with what we paid for. 2 days later I get one of those automatic emails for a survey asking how they did. Overall I rated them well and even rated the photographer well except for the professional category. I gave a 3 out of 5, and in the box filled in that I felt her clothing could be more professional. A manager called me for more clarity. I explained the outfit and said it wasn't a big deal but wasn't really situationally appropriate. Manager didn't say much but sounded serious and thanked me for informing them. End of story, right? Well, nope. On the weekend photographer girl shows up drunk on my lawn wearing 3 bras and starts screaming at my house. Long story short, she was let go from her job and felt I was the asshole to blame. Eventually we had to call the police to have her removed. People I know are torn. Some think it was funny and I should have let it go. Others think it deserved to be called out. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. You gave a fair and honest review. It sounds like this wasn't the only time that employee had shown up for events inappropriately dressed. A photographer should blend into the background and not be noticeable, not be the thing that stands out about your wedding. She got herself fired. You did nothing wrong. Not the asshole, and you didn't leave a bad review. One data point you marked low, the rest you didn't. You were honest and she was unprofessional for a wedding. Not the asshole. Maybe her boss is the asshole for firing her over that, unless of course there were other issues. Based on her reaction, it seems like there could have been other issues. NTA. This obviously has been an ongoing issue with her at work. Want to start by saying women should be comfortable and allowed to go with or without bras in a professional setting. That said, not the asshole. Had it just been no bra, then you'd have been an asshole. But it was also white and apparently transparent lace. Women, just don't wear white to weddings if they aren't the bride. Not the asshole. Anyone who works in the wedding industry should know and understand the expectations for appropriate dress at a wedding, especially since they know what venue they're going to. Wearing white is bad to begin with, but wearing something sheer to the point that people are noticing and commenting is totally unprofessional. If her supervisor called for more information and then fired her after hearing from you, then this isn't the first time it's been an issue. Am I the asshole for not letting my dad's wife name or see my baby? I am 25 and pregnant. Dad remarried at 17. Me and her never got along, she always pushed me. She wanted me to call her mom, then got mad when I didn't. She got mad that my dad was choosing me over her, because we would go out together, just me and him. She went through my text messages. Got mad at me for talking to my boyfriend about my depression and how I was feeling and not her. Tried to take the stuff that I paid for away. Phone. Car etc. Tried to make me babysit her kids multiple times, even on my prom night. She tried to make me lose weight by fasting for a week straight. I'm a healthy weight, was and still am. That has always been monitored by a doctor due to health issues then and now. Me and my dad still talk, just not as much. He wanted to meet for brunch, so I said yes, unaware that he was bringing her. When they came, we talked for a bit casually with my husband there until we got onto the topic of my pregnancy. She asks me all kinds of questions until she gets to names. She told me that I was going to name the Amy, her daughter's name. I politely said no and said we already had a few names in mind. She started saying why I wasn't allowing her to name her grandchild and she should get that right. I told her that it's our right. That was another issue. She kept saying that I was taking away her right as a grandparent and that I've always been such a bitch to her for no reason, and she knew that I never accepted her as my mother from the beginning, but I'm a bad parent if I'm going to project that onto my kid. However, this is when I stopped everything and told her she's not allowed around my kid. She kept pushing it, saying that she always knew I was a brat, but to be this bitter to someone who only helped her is absurd. I said that she can think that all she wants, but I'm going to be naming our child whatever we decide, and that name won't be it. Then she decided to try to hit close to home, saying that I was going to be a horrible mother. I'm already not taking care of myself. I look like shit. I'm already eating too much and probably killing my baby with how much I eat. And I just keep adding to how much of a self-centered person I am by taking away her bonding with her grandchild. Whoa. That hit me hard, but I was through. Told her she's not going to be seeing my child ever when she's born, since she wanted to push her luck. Before I could say more, my husband grabbed our stuff and we left. I've never ever gotten so much messages from so many different people in my life. Multiple people are telling me that she was wrong, but I know how she can get, but I shouldn't deny her grandbaby. Others are just saying I'm in awe, and my father is on her side too. I honestly think I'm 100% in the right. Could be self-absorbed of me to say, but I do. But everyone else besides my husband think I'm a raging bitch. AITA. Not the asshole. You need to invite your father to your home on his own and lay it down hard. You will not accept such talk from her. This isn't her grandchild, and if he wants access to his grandchild, he better buck up. To sit there as she insulted you to your face and said such horrible things shows where he has put priorities. Tell him if he ever wants to see his grandchild, he had better start calling her on her bullshit, or both of them can get gone. Because honestly, you don't need her toxicity in your life, and you don't need your father's enabling of her either. Was your dad just sitting there the whole time not saying anything? Also, is a grandparent naming your child a tradition or something? Where did she get this idea from? Reddit brings people from all over the world, so I thought I should ask. Not the asshole. I don't understand how she was able to say all of that without your husband and father saying anything. I swear people can't take rejection and then feel entitled to try to persuade them. Not the asshole. Your dad's partner is way overstepping. I don't understand why your dad just lets her continue acting like that. Not the asshole. To anyone telling you to let her see the baby. Yes, is because I know how she is exactly why she will not be a part of my child's life. I want my child to be loved, cherished and respected. I don't want my child to constantly walk on eggshells or be pushed around. Not the asshole. You're 100% in the right. Stepmom is an insecure asshole who only cares about herself. The fact that your dad agrees with her and did not defend you shows exactly how he feels too. He's also an asshole for allowing that. Edit. I'd want to keep the baby away from her toxic behavior too.